Now I'm actually in Thailand. I'm looking for a place you could survive the end of the world with, or at. And I'm in a town, Sakon Nakhon, basically, and it's on the edge of the farmland in the beginning of the forest. And there's a big lake here, highly situated. Well, it's highly suited for survivability, I think. But the one thing I like about this town is because it's a Buddhist enclave. Might be pretty dumb, but it's a Buddhist enclave, and there's Buddhist temples everywhere. I mean, it's incredible. I just look out the window, and I walk around the corner, there's a temple there, and go a bit further, there's another one, and you go around another corner, there's another temple. There's just temples all over the place. And because of that, believe it or not, because there's all these temples everywhere, I actually think there's no evil here, or there is no evil here as far as I've worked out. I've been here many times in the future, or in the past. I drop on occasion. It's the only place I stay at now. But Bangkok's this big industrialist, well, it's just a big people moving city which will not survive the future at all. But here there's ponds. The government's been putting money into farming and trying to get the people to do other things, and it actually looks quite good. I was talking to a lecturer at the university, and he's a plant science lecturer, and he's been going on about the things the government does, all the dams they're putting in. But they're looking at cash crops, and they grow lots of rubber trees around here, and I'd rather have them growing a bit of food. And also they have this with the fish the Nile talibas, or whatever they are. I think he was saying they put them in, and they put the native fish in the river. They breed them and drop them in, not the river, in the lake. It's a big lake here. But during the summer, the water level drops over the whole area of the lake. It drops amazingly low, and there's mud in the bottom. You wouldn't want to go out; you'd probably sink. And all the weeds. There's a lot of weeds in the lake, and he says that's because the farmers run off from the farmers. All the fertilizer ends up in the lake, and they had these machines going around trying to drag out the weeds. They were doing a good job, but still, that's just never ending. 3 machines and weeds everywhere, little seaweeds or whatever, lake weeds. And there are fish while I'm watching the lake. I can see the fish jumping out of the water and that. And there are fishermen that go out. Some of them just row out, others have little speedboats. These boats are all old. This is old time living, basically. And they go out and go fishing. And they go in somewhere in the lake, in the middle of the lake, but somewhere near where we are, there's a Buddhist temple on an island where you can go out to the Buddhist temple on the island and do things, which is really, really good, I thought. But other than that, I wouldn't. Or other than that, this is one of the few places I've been in that would possibly survive the future. The other one was actually in Vietnam, where we went into the mountains in Vietnam. This is up near Laos. Well, we're near Laos too, and on the other side, the Vietnam side, we went up to the hills around the border patrol, but border areas, and there's big signs. This is a border restricted area, basically. And that was it. But there's areas there that will survive the future. I'm guaranteed of it. But here, this place, it's very well situated. My views are starting to, it's build it up a bit because it's a nice place to live. And they've got good wide roads and that, and there's plenty of water, what I can gather. And they are actually, or the government's been putting dams up. And when we were flying in, you could see the actual government, the dams had been put up quite recently. And they had the trees, but they were mainly growing, as I said before, cash crops. And the other one was eucalyptus. I don't know what he said the eucalyptus he grows, or they grow there, are different from what we grow. So I don't know what they're using for. So we'd use eucalyptus for firewood because it's hard. If you let our eucalyptus, cut it down, you leave it, and it goes hard. You can't even cut it with a chainsaw. It's rock hard stuff. So they're growing eucalyptus for something else. I don't really know. And I have been to some temples in the jungle. Basically, they are in the jungle, and they seem to have this thing about snake. They have the snake god, and they have these big snakes in lots of places around here. I don't know anything about Buddhism, so I don't know the significance of these big snakes. They make them. I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any snakes here, but I've seen snakes in Vietnam, big ones. And there's one in Vietnam, or one in the mountains in Vietnam, and one guy, local guy, had this. He had this snake, and he's holding up the snake by its head up here, and the tail was just touching the ground. And that's how long it was. And I took one look at that snake, and I think it took off. But here there are a few deadly snakes around, but I haven't seen them. But in the jungle where they have this snake god, oh, amazing! These temples, utterly amazing. I couldn't believe this temple. And because I think Buddhism is sort of live passively on the land, is a bit different from us lot. And in one case, they had rat traps in the house where I was staying, and they caught a rat. And normally they take it outside. In any other country, in China especially, they take them outside and kill them or whatever. And I thought, we walked over to this little river, and I thought he was going to throw it in and drown the thing. What he did was he let the rat go in the river. The rat swam across the little river, little creek thing, climbed up the other side and buggered off. And I thought, wow, that's a strange way of looking at things. Because rats, we had a rat in the house, and we spent a month trying to kill it. And then he killed us too. I don't want to go there. That was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, was to stop that rat in the house. Man, that thing was evil. He was evil to, it was a she too. Evil to maximum, that one there. Anyway, so I let the rat go. And another thing here, which struck me as being a bit different, after it rains, they get these rather large centipedes come out everywhere. In the house, everywhere. It was been raining, they come out of the walls, they come out everywhere. And these people, they were just sweeping them into the gutter. They wouldn't stand on where you went out in the west, they'd walk around plots, standing on them. But there, they just sweep them into the gutter. And that's the way to do it, but not here. Not here. And I was amazed at this, because I'm looking at it, I'm seeing this girl. I knew it. She was sweeping, the shop owner, sweeping these. I saw them in a shop sweeping these centipedes outside, and I thought, here we're going to sit and jump on them. But then she swept them into the stormwater drain. No, they can float away. Give them a chance. But that's their mentality, because it's Buddhist upbringing, and it's surrounded by Buddhist temples, and there's no elephants here, but there's carvings of elephants and carvings of snakes, and amazing place. I mean, it's an amazing place. But the reason I like it, when I said there's no evil here, well, I was in bed in the west, and I was sure, I was in a dream or a nightmare, or whatever you like to call it, that the devil was calling my name. Because and someone shook me, they told me to wake up because I was making a lot of noise and grunting, and I don't know what I was doing, but they knew something was wrong, so they woke me up. And the last image I had was that standard image of the devil, the red-faced devil that seems to have invaded our psychic. And I'm thinking, where did that come from? What was I thinking of before I went to sleep? And then they woke me up, and because I was rolling around and moaning and groaning, and I don't know what was going on. I didn't remember any of it until they woke me up, and I woke up and I saw the devil's face in front of me, Satan's face in front of me. And I thought, wow. And then they told me what had happened. So you don't know what's happened in the dreamland. And here, since I've been here in this Buddhist enclave, and even the Catholic Church is 22 kilometres away, so I haven't got a car here, so I don't know how to get to it. But the Buddhist enclave here, with all the Buddhist temples, it's a peaceful sort of place, and everyone's friendly. But then again, in Thailand, they're always friendly. Even in Vietnam, the Asian people are friendly. So I reckon here, I think I'm looking at possible retreats to go to when the world comes unglued. Well, I was telling us the plant, well, he's a doctorate in plant science or something, the lecturer in plant science. By 2026, we should be well informed on whether we're heading into a global solar minimum with mini ice age popping in, or we are heading into global warming, which I doubt very much, because global warming doesn't seem to exist anymore. We used to get, not global warming in my view is solid global warming, but here we just get periodic days of global hot temperatures, and then they go back to normal again. And we did it here in Vietnam, where before summer, she was hitting 40-something degrees plus, which is summer temperatures. And that was before summer. We don't know what happened there, why that was there. But then it went away again. It goes up 4 days, 5 days max, and then it goes back down again. And of course, everyone calls it global warming, but it's only a blip in the global warming scale. And yet, there's it is getting colder here. I'm just in here, this is nearly winter now. We're heading into winter. So I'm not too sure what I'm going to do, but normally I like the summer, I like sun. And here I'm just doing my normal flow around the areas, getting people, telling them how to grow food, because they don't grow vegetable gardens here. It's quite incredible. I'm waiting for them. I even asked that plant scientist guy to try and bring in organic farming, because it takes 5 years or something to go from conventional to organic. And Sri Lanka wanted to do it in 5 months, and they wondered why they ran out of food. And the government collapsed, and all the people were having a few problems, but they got over it in 3 months. Which is, if you look at, I look at documentaries about modern collapse. So someone was doing a documentary. It was a soldier or peacekeeper force in Somalia. I think it was Somalia, when it collapsed, and he said after 3 months it's all sorted out. Like the evils, the people's militia, because there's no police, have finally taken out all the bad people. And that's after 3 months. He said it was quite safe to walk around, but before that you wouldn't want to go out. And that's what happened in Sri Lanka. They said 3 months after the collapse, they raided the government's house and wrecked it all up and I don't know if they set it on fire, but they ruined it. And once they got their act together, once the militias, what do they call them, the vandals or the bad people who run around with guns shooting everyone, he said, the worst places to be were where we're coming back from the pick up food or coming back from picking up water, because these people are lying ambush and they just shoot you and take your water. And then once the people militia, which are the people's militia, the good people finally got their act together, they managed to take out the militia, take out the bad people, the vandals, the gangs. And after 3 months, it was all right. So in a place like this, even though I know there are elements, even though I haven't met any, especially in this enclave here, that are bad. One taxi driver tried to charge me double. I told him to get off, then he suddenly realised that maybe I knew a bit more about it. I'd been there a bit longer than he thought. And he was quite surprised when I told him the exact price. And then the guy didn't know where he was going. How pathetic can you get? Mainly because their language is, I don't know where it come from. And English don't match. And I had the address written in English. And I showed him on the map where it was, on Google Maps. Still got it wrong. Took me to the wrong place. Oh. So anyway, that was a bit of an experience there. But let's get it. But that's the only one I think they've ever been charged double here. It's incredible. It's so honest. Sometimes I have problems in the supermarket, but it's normally my fault. So there, if we end up, if they're in a place like this where there seems to be no militia, no gangs. There is a gang. I was talking to one guy, but I think I met him at a church, and I think he was using that to try and say why he became, a Christian sort of thing. And I think he was just trying to use them. The impression I got, and that'd be right with the gangs here, but they're nothing compared to the gangs we got in the West. Nothing. And even the town I live in the West, is because it's a low-income town, there's gangs everywhere. Not gangs everywhere, but there are gangs. And there's more gangs and they're not united. That means they'll start taking each other out first, and hopefully we only have to take out the ones that survive. But that's a bit of a worry living in the West with the gangs. And the fact that over there the gangs just take what they want. And here no one takes. I was I left my bag at the airport on a seat in the airport. So I must have been away for about half an hour, and I suddenly realised, where's my bag? And I rushed back, and it was still sitting there. But I could see the security guards. When I rushed up to the bag, they were all looking at me. So they'd been keeping an eye on it, which I thought was very nice of them. Because in Thailand, at the airport anyway, there's workers everywhere, but they don't get paid very much. And that's why the employment rate here, I think, is very high, because everyone's got a job, but they don't get paid very much. And I know people with cafes, and they got workers working at the cafes. There is job mobility, like some of the better people left, the accountant left, and they get other ones in, and they're all, so it's a complete constant turnover of staff. I'm still trying to work out how to keep the staff there. The ones that the core staff are still there, but there's all the peripherals, people coming and going. And I would actually like to see them. They could do a bit of marketing. I do a bit of marketing. I try to introduce a few simple marketing techniques that we use all the time in the West, and they won't do it. I don't know. I think they don't want to upset the apple cart, or don't want to take business away from everyone else. I got a strange way of doing it, but it's a different mindset. I don't worry. I don't try to analyze it. I just think, oh well, they don't want to do it. Fair enough. But that's in this lovely little enclave here, which I go and drink coffee all over the place and eat food, and you just sit down and point at the menu or point at something, and they give you a bowl, and I can actually basically, you don't get ripped off. The prices, I know the price is within a range, I never get them out of the range yet. Whereas in Vietnam, I've had people popping the price on, giving you a menu, and then when you come to pay, they give you another menu, and it's double or triple what they first had. That's in Vietnam in places, but that's even unusual there. And then in China, when the greed factor took over, when I first went to China back in the 1990s, even to 2000 to 2010, probably 2005, there were people there. It was very good. And the standard saying that is, if I rip you off, it's your fault for letting me rip you off. And that was one of the my classic sayings that come out of, but that wasn't actually, that was in China, but not everyone was ripping you off too much. I got ripped off at them. Just buying vitamin C at one shop, they charged me probably about 20 times what I got it at another shop, so I never went back. But that's their own fault. They lose, and you can see the ones that do that, because now after COVID, they're not there anymore. The businesses that people knew were suspect, they're just not there anymore. People just don't worry about it, and they left them. Anyway, that's my view at the moment, because I'm in Thailand, and I love Thailand, love the people, love the food, a bit of spicy stuff. Everyone goes on about that. What do they call them? Green papaya salad, spicy green papaya salad. Well, I've only had it once, and I'm not having it again. It's a bit hot for me, that one, but the rest is okay. Okay, thank you.